Big thanks to Bandai Namco Toys and Collectibles America for sending this out. You can check out Bandai Collect and links to buy this in the description. Monkey, 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 and more. It's Steven's Monkey Reviews. Hello there, Collector Steven here, and today we have another monkey review, where today we're going to be taking a look at the SH MonsterArts Kong from Godzilla vs. Kong 2021 Exclusive Edition. Ooh, that's a bit of a mouthful. Kong, he's back in the SH MonsterArts lineup. Get ready for this. He was first available at San Diego Comic-Con 2022. He was then available at Chicago Comic-Con 2022. He was available for order at the premium Bandai website, supposed to be shipping in March. He was available at New York Comic-Con, and he was available through select retail outlets in the United States for a limited time, and he is available on Bandai Namco's website right now at the time of recording. So basically, I think I counted 6 on my fingers. I have 10 of them. That's a good percentage out of 10, just for comedy's sake. So if you're in the United States, basically, this is a fantastic opportunity to have access to what is, one may say, fact that Bandai does listen to fan wants and needs. We get all of the accessories that fans were saying that we should have had with the original release, and we get more. What are those? Let's take a look to see whether or not this one's going to be worth adding into your collection. I had to stop there because I realized I made a what are those joke. Alright, so for this particular video, actually I took these pictures quite some time ago, and I've since used that technique moving forward. For the pictures, I did something a little bit different with the camera settings, so let me know how you like the pictures, because despite the fact that Kong is a bit more matte than the original release, and we'll take a look at those side by side, the details are a bit darker, so I had to really work the camera in a few different ways to bring the details out. I had to make them pop. And this Kong, despite the fact that it's basically going to be one-to-one to the same mold, has quite a few differences under the hood, if you will, to make it look closer to the final battle that he, Godzilla, and Mechagodzilla had all together. For this particular release of Kong, by default, he's going to have the clenching teeth face, that gritting face that everybody wanted to have with the original release, and it looks very good. As a matter of fact, it looks a bit more accurate to the source material compared to the other 2 heads that we got, which, by the way, this figure is sculpted based on the skeleton of the CGI model for Kong and not used directly from the CGI model. Anyway, the sculpt does look fantastic, and what's kind of hidden here is that he is going to have the slash marks on the chest when Godzilla did his crawl and he slashed up Kong, and he's also going to have a few patches of blood here and there on his arms, on his back, and everywhere else to be found. Kong, again, is more matte than glossy compared to the original release, as some folks did or did not like, so your mileage may vary there, except for when I say this figure does look good. I'm going to go ahead and put it in here as well. All of the eyes are looking symmetrically straight ahead. Nice. So for Kong here, the articulation is going to be the same as the first time around. He's holding his axe just because I had him in a pose with the axe, and, well, you'll see. Something that some folks may note that I did not really experience with the Kongs I had from the original retail release were loose joints and stuff that like to pop off. If you experienced that, I guess I could kind of see how in the first release that happened with some. Here, absolutely not. This Kong just feels sturdy. It feels, hold on, just because I don't want to break the axe, because the axe is lovely. I mean, this thing is sturdy. Okay, are we good? Okay, yeah. So the axe, again, I just took it off just so this way it could be sturdy. Yeah, I've got no fear with this guy. I mean, I could probably chuck him across my yard and he'd be fine. Okay, so what do we have? Well, the head is going to plug in on a double axis or barbell style joint, and he moves really, really nice. And then the neck section there plugs in on a ball joint as well. So very, very good. So Kong can look up about that far. He can look down about that far. The only issue is getting him to kind of sort of look you can sort of see what I'm talking about, extended to one direction or the other, left or right. The head does like to pop off, but considering the range of movement that we get so far, Kong looks just fine, and he moves very, very well. For the shoulders, they are going to be on ball joints, as we can see, as we can move this section of the torso down, which is fine. Kong can move his arm about that far in, that far out, raise and lower them. Not necessarily T-posing, which is okay, I suppose. But that would have been really cool to see. You know, T-pose and monkey fully, which you can kind of sort of do there, but, you know, not quite like the SH Figuarts lineup. We do have a little bit of a bicep swivel, a true one. Not a whole lot going on there. But we do have the way that it's engineered, ball joints utilized in the elbows as well and in the forearms. So this way we can kind of circumvent a lack of a fully functioning moving bicep swivel, and we don't really need to have that working. So I don't know if mine's stuck. I don't know if the engineering for that is not allowing for that to fluidly move, but it works fine. For the wrists, as you saw here, they're on ball joints, so all of the hands just pop off and plug in on them, and they move wonderfully, okay? All right. So for the torso, for the joints that we have here, it looks like there are several joints, but what we really do have is we're going to have one ball joint here in the diaphragm abdomen area, and this portion here is just going to be a floating piece of the sculpt to help cover that up. So Kong can, rear back about that far, move down forward about that far, tilt from side to side. As you can see, I'm really struggling to make sure that I'm pushing this to its limit because the joints are very sturdy here, almost to a fault, but not. It feels really solid. We do have OH joint, which is a ball joint. Very good. Hips. So, interestingly, it's a combination of a pull down with ball joints. So this way we can get good movement and make Kong have the ability to move his leg out farther to the side, or you can push it back up to get a little bit more fluid sculpt, if you will, but he can kick about that far forward and, monkey butt, so that far back. Obviously, we saw how far out he can kick for the purposes of doing the splits. Knees hinge, but they plug into the thigh and down here on ball joints. So, rather tight, but nevertheless, it works. We do have a system of ball joints here to accommodate for effective ankle rocker, and we have ball joints for the toes. So this way, in the midfoot section, we can get more ankle rocker-like movement and toe movement. So Kong moves very well. If you have any qualms about joint integrity or so forth, if this review didn't do it for you, nothing will. Come on, monkey, stand. Don't make me get Frieza. Okay, there we go. I slammed him on the table, which several people say, don't abuse your MonsterArts, you'll break them. Which don't do what I did, because I don't want to hold anyone accountable. I'm just confident in my ability. This Kong is very sturdy. The joints are very solid. Banana out of 10. Good monkey. All right, let's talk about Kong's accessories, and he's going to come with pretty much everything and more. He's going to come with the 2 original head sculpts that the first Kong came with, along with a total of 7 extra hand parts. We'll talk about those in a second. We do have the Severed Mechagodzilla head sculpt, the axe or tomahawk according to the instructions, along with an effect part, and 3 heave vehicles. So let's go over the hands real quick because this is kind of important. We're going to get left and right hands, so this way he can hold the tomahawk or the axe, and we're going to get dedicated left and right splayed hand parts. For the right hand, we are going to get a dedicated hand, so this way he can hold the decapitated Mechagodzilla head, neat, and a left hand, so this way he can grab and chuck a heave vehicle, which that's what the V stands for in heave. Then we get a mysterious right hand part where it kind of makes Monkey look like he's thinking. He's capable of thought. Wonder what this hand is for. It doesn't really designate in the instructions for anything in specific. So now that we got those out of the way, let's go ahead and take a look at the head sculpts that he comes with, which are going to be the same as the original release. There's not really much else to talk about there. For the axe, it is going to be a bright blue coloration instead of the more so accurate, dull, straightforward, docile state that the original release came with, because this is supposed to represent the final battle when he gets his axe hit by Godzilla's breath, and it begins to charge and light up. And we do get an accompanying effect part, which is kind of confusing to get it to clip onto the axe, but this is really cool. It's really bonkers. It's new Showa, which is awesome. Yeah, it's fine and it works wonders. It's not too top heavy to where Kong is going to constantly fall over, though the effect part does like to come apart with relative ease. For the heave, we get 3 of them, and they're rather straightforward, mostly unpainted plastic, though, as you'll see, the boosters that are on the sides, all 4 of them, they do spin around on a swivel, and we can see that technically it's painted plastic because it's all translucent plastic. We do get a little base with 3 bendy wire support stands for your 3 heaves that you get in this set, which is super straightforward to use. All right, decapitated Mechagodzilla head. This is what everyone was looking forward to. We do have the gory mechanical dangly bits coming down from the severed spinal cord, which is really cool. The only thing I would say is maybe a bit more coloration here because, you know, all the wires and so forth. It's kind of just a gunmetal, which looks good. Now, the paint apps here are going to differ from the Mechagodzilla MonsterArts proper release, and the head sculpt does not pop on one-to-one on the actual figure. Now let's go ahead and do some action shots here as we can see, and I just want to talk about Mechagodzilla a bit more. The head sculpt here is rather intimidating because we got to see all the grindy bits and the gear in the mouth for the photon, whatever scream, and that makes this really, really cool. All right. There are your action shots, and Kong pretty much comes with everything that the fans asked for and more. The decapitated Mechagodzilla head, and then the head for Kong, so this way he's clenching his teeth, he's gritting, ready to go in the battle, and more so specifically since this is going to be a nod to the end of Godzilla versus Kong, Kong is going to be holding his shoulder. This is a good scene to recreate. The only thing I think may be missing is when he's on the boat, and he's smiling at the sunset, and he looks like a Chad. That's the only thing that might be missing. If you need stands or effect parts, you know I got videos to help you out. Size comparison time. This is going to be basically a repaint with minor retooling of the original release, so you know exactly how big this is. And now a side-by-side comparison with the original release. And like I said, this is more of a matte color opposed to the somewhat glossy the original release was, with a few more paint details here and there. And since they're side-by-side, you will be able to see exactly where those differences and similarities lie. So buy now, skip, or wait for a deal. Like we said at the top, there were multiple different release opportunities and windows in the United States. Basically, the only reason that you did not get this is if you're watching this a year or 2 from now, and none of those opportunities currently exist, or you weren't able to afford it in that time frame. Which, if that's going to be the point, then dang, that kind of stinks. Otherwise, it is available, and this is going to be the definitive MonsterVerse Kong that's on the market right now. We have all of the accessories that we need, and yeah, that'll be it. Competition, let's see what they have, but this is really good. This gets my seal of approval, and yeah, it's kind of worth picking up more than one. You have a Mechagodzilla graveyard. Very cool release. Well, collectors, that brings us to the end of the video today, and I just wanted to take a second to thank you so much for watching. Now, you've heard a lot from me. I'd like to hear a little bit from you. Drop in the comments down below whether or not you liked it, you hated it, or maybe you were somewhere in between. I also want to take an extra second here for a nice, humongous thank you to all the patrons for SDR over the last month who have really helped the channel grow into what it can be today. So to all of you, 2 big thumbs up. Thank you very much. And now the end card should be popping up, which will give you a few clickable links, like maybe to subscribe or head on over to my Patreon, or some short URLs like to my social media or to my Teespring store. There's also a video I hand selected for you, so if you want to watch another STR video, I hand selected some good content for you to watch, so definitely check out that video. Thank you again so much for watching, and I'll catch ya in the next video.